Ever wonder how a country gets its look? Not just its flag, but its whole vibe, its visual soul? Well, today we're diving into the story of an artist who you've probably never heard of, but who pretty much single-handedly painted the identity of a nation as it was being born. This is the story of Zeev Raban.
I mean, think about it. How does a brand new nation, a whole new collective identity, decide what it looks like? What are its colors, its shapes, its symbols? This is a massive question, and it's right at the heart of Zeev Raban's story.
So, let's set the scene. It's the early 1900s, in the region of Palestine, also known as Eretz Israel. You've got people gathering from all over the world, just buzzing with this feeling of a new beginning. But here's the thing. While the spirit was there, a shared look, a visual language that everyone could connect with, was totally missing. It was basically a cultural blank canvas, just waiting for someone to start painting.
Right. Section 1. A nation needs a look. Because this whole situation, it really points to a fundamental truth. Building a nation isn't just about politics or drawing lines on a map, it's about creating an identity you can actually see.
And man, what a challenge that was. I mean, how do you even begin to create a style that feels ancient, rooted in thousands of years of history, but also completely new and modern? How do you make it feel uniquely local? Born from the sun-baked landscapes of the Middle East, but at the same time speak to people all over the world. It was a real puzzle.
Okay, Section 2. The artist for the job. So, who could possibly take on a mission like that? Well, as it turns out, there was an artist who was almost perfectly suited for it. Let's meet him. Zeev Raban. He was born in Poland, trained in the great art capitals of Europe. We're talking Munich, Paris, Brussels. So he was totally immersed in all the modern movements. But then, in 1912, he makes his huge, life-changing move to Jerusalem to join the famous Bezalel Academy. And he brings all that European know-how with him, but not to copy it. No, he was there to transform it.
And that right there is the key. Raban wasn't just another art teacher. He pretty quickly became a leader at Bezalel, a real driving force behind this deliberate, conscious movement to create a new Hebrew art style. His job wasn't just to paint pictures, it was to define a nation's look.
So, on to our next section. Forging a new visual language. How did he actually do it? How do you even start something like that?
Well, the secret to his whole approach can pretty much be summed up in one word: syncretism. It's this idea of fusing different styles together. What he did was, he took the flowing, organic lines of European Art Nouveau and symbolism, and he blended them with ancient Jewish symbols and the vibrant patterns he saw all around him in the Middle East. It was like a cultural cocktail, really, and the result was something nobody had ever seen before.
He essentially built a whole new symbolic toolkit, a visual vocabulary. He dusted off these ancient symbols, like the powerful lion of Judah and the graceful deer of Naphtali, and he mixed them with local plants, like the date palm and the pomegranate. And these weren't just pretty decorations. No, they were a language, connecting the people of his time to their deepest, most ancient heritage.
And this is what's so incredible. His canvas was everything. He wasn't stuck in some gallery. His art was on buildings, inside books, on coins and stamps, in jewelry, on stunning stained glass. He was shaping the entire visual world around him, making this new style a part of people's everyday lives.
All right, Section 4. Art that defined an era. Because with that kind of versatility, his vision became, well, inescapable, in the best way possible. His work didn't just contribute to the era, it defined it.
I mean, his fingerprint was everywhere. You know the iconic mosaics on the original Bezalel school building? That was him. The breathtaking stained glass windows in the famous King David Hotel in Jerusalem? Yep, Raban again. And his illustrations for the Passover Haggadah, they became the version for generations of families, bringing these sacred stories to life with this fresh, vibrant energy.
So you see all this work, this incredible variety across so many different forms. But what was the one big idea driving it all? What was his guiding principle?
It's all captured in this one perfect quote. A student asked him how to draw the biblical figure of Moses, and Raban's answer, well, it says everything about his mission. He said, "Don't paint him as a European with a white beard. Dress him in Bedouin clothes, put the sun of our land on his face, and give him the strength of the mountains here, A new people needs a new Moses. I mean, that's a revolutionary shift, right? On one hand, you have the old, inherited image, Moses as some kind of European scholar. But Raban's vision? It was authentic. It was strong. It was rooted in the land itself. It was a total reimagining of national identity, moving away from a borrowed past toward a self-defined future.
Because for Raban, this was never, ever just about making pretty things. He truly believed that for a nation to flourish, to really believe in itself, it needed to see itself reflected in its own unique images. Art wasn't just decoration, it was definition.
Which brings us to our final section, the power of a symbol. Because all of this really reveals the true, lasting power of a symbol.
When you really look at his entire life's work, it's so clear. Zeev Raban didn't just paint pictures or design objects. He was like an identity architect. He took on this monumental, almost impossible task of giving a future nation a face, a style, and a set of symbols to call its very own.
Raban's story is just such a powerful reminder of how art really shapes who we are. And it leaves us with a big question for ourselves. What symbols define our identities today? In our countries, our communities, or even just in our own personal lives? What are the images that tell our story?